I'm Kerry Bass, and I'm the CEO and principal of Potential to Reality Consulting. And it's my pleasure to be part of the GovEd talks from Performance Institute. And I'd like to spend a few minutes here today talking with you about employee engagement. And particularly, I think it's time for us to get real. During this next few minutes, I'm going to cover just a few slides with you, but I'm going to talk about what you already know. And then talk about those things that makes it really tough to get the work done today. And then the big question is, why can't we keep our folks and why can't we replace them when they're moving on? And then finally, it's time to get real about doing that. What you already know. Fortune 500, Fortune magazine rather, reports that 65% of employees that are currently working are looking to change jobs. So they're heading for the door. Not only that, NPR reported that over 2 million people more last year retired than were expected. And this is just in overall the labor marketplace, but government agencies are not immune. The Bloomberg Cityscapes reported that while a majority of the private sector are the ones that are addressing and dealing with most of this employee churn, public sector saw percentage-wise a bigger employment change and a slower recovery for employment during this past recovery of this past time. So that means that it's really tougher to get the work done. As the economy has reacted to the pandemic and the pandemic has caused other needs, agencies have had a greater demand than ever on their services. And that means that as the people are leaving, the best people are getting burned out. And then what's been facing us for a long time in the public sector and in the private sector also is that we have a knowledge cliff. And that the people that know how things really work and how to get the work done are leaving, and we don't have a means to be able to capture that knowledge and pass it on to ensure that we have smooth operations going in the future. So that leads us to the question, why can't we keep our people? Why can't we keep our folks? And why can't we replace them when they decide to leave? Well, it's really about the pandemic. And the pandemic is really not the total cause. It's more like the straw that broke the camel's back. And the pandemic forced a reset of things that have been churning in the labor market for a long, long time. And finally, it brought to the forefront some key questions that we have to consider and that have been considered by the people that are working. First of all, what is essential? What is required for us to be able to get work done every day, to get our goods and services and be able to have our operations and our well-being, be able to get our kids educated, keep the lights on? What is really required to be done? And then on top of that, who has to do that work in person? We've talked about essential employees being those that are grocery workers. We found out that there are several types of people that have really essential jobs we may not have actually thought about. The bus drivers, the garbage collectors, the people that are packing food in our warehouses and our meat packing facilities. Those people that deliver unemployment benefits and take those applications was probably one of the biggest areas that we're seeing a major impact in the government environment. And so what that means is that now we've had to go and have a reassessment about how do we keep our supply chains and all of our goods and services continuing to be available during this period of time. And all of that churn means that power has shifted to labor, to the employees, at least for now. So what do we do? How do we deal with that? Well, I think it's time for us just simply to get real. First and foremost, I think integrity matters. It's time to acknowledge who your organization is and who you are as a people manager. Your people can tell, and they can tell if you're trying to fake it. One of the things I thought that was kind of like a smack with the 2x4, but it really was quite insightful and refreshing, is the head of Shopify recently got in the news by saying that Shopify is not a family. Their employees are team members, and that people are working there for a wage and be able to get ahead for economic reasons. And that means then that you need to be realistic about the culture of what your organization is really imbuing. You may say that you value employees and that you value your staff, but it really is not shining through if it's not really true. And so the bottom line is you need to be true to who you really are. So if you're then not really about a people organization, then you're going to have to deal with the fact that it's going to cost you more. You have to pay competitive wages, and you have to provide benefits and other perks that are relevant for the folks that are working for you. Bottom line is Maslow's law still applies. You're going to have to determine what it is that your employees work, and not necessarily just as a group, but more even individualistically. Why are they working? If they're working simply for the paycheck, then that means that you can get them for giving them more money, but also understand that anybody that pays them more money will pull them away. There's been a lot of people that are complaining because people did not go back to work in those low-wage restaurant jobs. But Amazon is being able to pull people in to work in warehouses. The bottom line is you get what you pay for. And if you decide then that you need highly engaged, highly motivated, highly skilled, highly functioning team employees, then you need to be able to act like that. And that means giving them the tools and the motivation to be high performing individuals as part of a team. You need to set the expectations appropriately. That means raise the bar high enough that it's giving them appropriate challenge, but not so high that it's unrealistic, and not being, expecting people to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even if you're paying them lots of money, because quite frankly, human beings just can't work that way. And then finally, winners want to work with winners. That means that people managers are going to have to address those performance issues up front, because the people that are around in the team see who is not pulling their weight. And if the management doesn't do anything about it, that means that the team decides we're really not a team, and therefore I need to watch out for myself, or I need to go find a team where I can win. Bottom line, it's time to get real. Thank you for spending a little time with me today. I appreciate having the opportunity to talk to you.